The very first time I weaved through that sleepy little industrial park outside of Orlando, Florida, and rocked up to the front door of the WWE Performance Center, I was filled with a nervous energy. I was thinking to myself, what on earth am I doing here? It took my eternal pump-up jam, the live version of Radio Gaga that Queen does at Live Aid, to get me ready to go to work for the industry leader. But that nervous energy is exactly what I saw reflected in hundreds and hundreds of other people who passed through those same doors. And during the time I was doing a whole bunch of work for the WWE's NXT brand, I was lucky enough to observe the WWE tryout process firsthand. And that is what has led to the video you're about to watch. Today, I want to count down the 7 things you need to know about your WWE tryout. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. For more than 30 years, I've been working in professional wrestling, both in front of the cameras as a pro wrestler, referee, ring announcer, and commentator, but also behind the scenes as a promoter, booker, agent, coach, consultant, and a ton of other things too. And it is specific to my experience doing coaching and consulting for the WWE between 2016 and 2019, which has led to the creation of this exact video. Before we dive into the material, I want to shout out just a few of my newest patrons. So welcome aboard Sigma Scott, Aviator, Jeremy, Loizos, and Rod. I am so grateful for your patronage. Thank you very much. And you can come join us over on Patreon too. There's a link down below in the descriptus. Number 7, all that money. I've trained over 1,000 pro wrestlers. I've written 10 books about pro wrestling. There's more than 700 videos right here on Till We Make It. You know the one thing I get asked more than anything else? Who pays for me to go to a WWE tryout? Here's what you need to know. If the WWE invites you to their tryout, they will pay to fly you to Orlando, Florida. You don't have to buy your own plane ticket. They will arrange that for you. They will also pay for your hotel while you're staying in Orlando for the duration of the tryout. If you decide you want to stay on to go and do touristy things in Orlando, Florida, that's going to be on your dime. But for the duration of the tryout, your lodging expense, your accommodations, that's paid for by the company as well. And I know the hotel where they put the candidates. They have a great free breakfast. So you're not going to be paying for the first meal of the day. The breakfast is free at the hotel that you're staying. And once they transport you to the PC for the tryout and they send a bus for you, you're not going to be out of pocket for a taxi, rental car, or Uber. Generally speaking, they bring lunch in for the candidates that are auditioning. It used to be like a local protein smoothie place. I realize they've changed it twice in recent years. They might have gone back to that. But generally speaking, they're going to bring lunch in as well. That means the WWE is paying for that meal. The only expense you're likely to incur is the cost of your dinner. Everything else, they pay for. Number 6, cutting promos. You need to know 50% of what you're being judged on at the tryout is your ability to cut a promo. Do not imagine that you can simply neglect this skill because you're such a phenomenal athlete or you're so charismatically funny in real life. You're going to have to be able to portray a character, infuse a promo with emotion, and deliver it with confidence in front of the judges. So because half of whether or not you get called back or get signed to a WWE contract hinges on this, I would recommend you practice cutting promos as a variety of characters with a variety of emotions. Number 5, show up and show off. When it comes to inside information, this one is mint. You have to show up in better cosmetic shape than you appeared in the photos you submitted during the application process. Why? Because the judges will have those photos right there in a binder in front of them to refer to. And if you seem to be in worse shape, that tells them you haven't been putting in the hard work since you got selected for the tryout. Instead, show up in better shape so that when they compare these two, they'll be impressed by all the hard work you've been putting in.
Number 4, cold as ice, baby.
Do not expect the coaches, the judges, the WWE talent that you recognize from TV that happen to be at the tryout to be all smiles. Instead, expect them to act like drill sergeants. This is a high-stakes scenario, and in that scenario, they will act cold and harsh. After the tryout experience is over, you will see they relax a bit because they're all friendly and professional, but not during the tryout.
Number 3, always performing.
If your tryout happens inside the WWE Performance Center, you need to remember that there are live streaming cameras all over the facility. And the app that the bosses use to access those live streaming cameras allows them to zoom in on each and every ring, and in some cases they can even hear what is being said. Now, if you're not inside the Performance Center because a tryout comes to your part of the world, the placement of the cameras is a little more obvious. But regardless, there are cameras at all of the tryouts, and all of the footage is reviewed and scrutinized. So even if you feel like all the focus is on the other side of the room, or that all the judges happen to be looking somewhere else, the cameras are still watching you.
Number 2, kill your inner fanboy.
I know some people are going to bristle about this one, but it's coming at you straight, no filter. There are two sides of the curtain. In front of the curtain is where fans stay. Behind the curtain is where professionals go. You cannot turn up to the tryout and behave like a gushing fanboy. You are at a high-stakes job interview to go behind the curtain. So turn up and act like a professional, not like a fan.
Number 1, in the 1%.
99% of the people who apply for a WWE tryout never hear anything back. And though the odds are slightly higher if you happen to be a college athlete, you need to know this if you're hoping to be in that select 1%. During the application process, do not falsify or exaggerate any of your credentials, because guaranteed the WWE will discover that falsehood while doing their due diligence about you, and this can ruin your chances of ever being given an opportunity.